Okay, the agenda of our session today is introduction to SQL. So in this introduction, like what is SQL and how it's work. And if you want to understand about the SQL, so first you have to understand about the database, how the data is stored in the backend databases. So after that, how to understand about the what is the difference between the DBMS and RDBMS database management system and the relation database management system. After completing that, so then we are understanding about the why SQL is important for the business analyst and what are the SQL commands we are going to understand about in the session. And after completing that, so by the end of this session, we are going to create some basic tables with the basic queries. Okay. So guys, this is the recording session. So everyone, the recording is available in the COAPD library tab. So you can simply click on that. So this recording also available. So don't worry about on that. So everyone don't record yourself. So the recording also available. So the first one is the introduction to SQL. So SQL is a structured query language used to communicate with the database. So SQL, what does it mean the SQL? What is the structured query language? So everyone know about the SQL, right? So SQL is store the data in the backend databases in the structure format. So let's take an example. If you want to buy any products in the any online platforms or any organization, not only e-commerce platforms, whatever that. So in the application, the data will be managed in the organized way. For example, if you click on the product function feature, automatically it will be showing as some related products. So because of these data will be in the back end, it will be maintained the organized way. For example, I want the mobile phones. So if I click on the mobiles, automatically all the mobiles will be coming to the dashboard, right? So like that, the data will be stored in the backend database in the SQL databases. So according to the ANSI, so America's National Standards Institute, so it is the standard.
Can you hold? Excuse me. Hello.
Hello.
Sangeeta ma'am, are you there?
No.
She's not there.
No. So according to the ANSI, so American National Standard Institute, so it is the standard language for the relational database management system. So basically, like from the last 10 years, 5 years back, so most of the companies will use the DBMS, database management system. It's a file format. So later on, guys, just a moment. Okay, it's an according to the ANSI. So ANSI is a standard institute from the to recognize the different programming languages. So the standard institute will be recognized as that this SQL is there to connect the relational database management system. So the relational database management system is like we call an Oracle, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. So these are the different relational databases. So now every organization will use some different relational database management system. So Oracle is the one database. It's a one relation database. If you want to connect that database, so in our database, we can connect with the database to the some relational databases. And it is used to perform actions such as update, retrieve, manipulate, and store data in a relational databases. So you all know update, for example, if you have an existing data. So if you want to update with the new tables into the existing tables, at that time you can use the update command, so you can update the data. So retrieve. So if you want to retrieve data from the backend databases, so at that time you can use the you can use the retrieve command, so you can retrieve the data. So next one is the manipulate. So if you want to connect the database and if you want to manipulate the data from one database to another database, So we can use this command to the manipulate, you can store the data in the relational database. So this is how we can use the SQL to manage the data in the SQL backend databases. Just a moment. Next, after that, we are going to understand about the what is database. So if you want to use the SQL, first you have to understand about the what is database. So database is a location where data is stored in a certain format. So certain format in the sense, it's a structure format, it's an organized way. So a database is usually controlled by the DBMS. So as I said in the earlier, so most of the DBMS will be controlled by the database management systems. It will be connected to the one database to another database if you want to insert the data into the different tables. So for example, if you want to create the login table, so whatever the data will be insert into the particular platform, so all this data will be stored into the databases. And the most common types of database in the operation today is typically molded into the rows and the columns and in a series of tables to make the processing and data querying efficient. Today, like every database will be created in the some tables and columns. I will show you in the by creating the tables in the SQL tool. So how it will look like. So everything I will show you in then and what by using this data, how the tables will look like and what is that use of the data. And next one is that database and spreadsheets such as Microsoft SQL are both the convenient ways to store the information. So like in the previous 10 years back, 20 years back, like we are using the different paper and pen to store to record the data, right? So later on, we are going to use the some Microsoft Excel sheets for to store the data. So later on, we are using the currently on the SQL databases. Guys, everyone, my voice is clear?
Yes.
Guys,
Yes, sir.
from your side also, please check the network connection.
Okay, sir.
Okay, from the past 20 years or 10 years back, we are using the pen and paper to record our data. So like data we call as a name, email ID, what location, image, all this is be converted into the data, right? So all this will be stored in the databases only. So whenever you want, we can get the data into from the databases. So like that, so later on the a few years back, we are using the pen and paper. Later on, we are using the some Excel sheets. Till now also we are using the Excel sheet, but the importance of the Excel sheet is reducing, right? So later on, we are coming into the different SQL databases. So we are using the SQLs. So today, most of the organization, so the purpose of to store the data using the SQL databases. So these databases are the more secure and to more the efficient to maintain the work, to make the right decisions in your organization. So basically, spreadsheets were originally designed a computerized analog of the paper accounting worksheet. So as I said in the earlier, so basically these spreadsheets are developed to maintain the accounting activities. So a few later on, we are using the different activities. We have to maintain the create the reports, everything, right? So when coming to the databases, so the databases allows multiple users at the same time to quickly and securely access and query the data using high complex logic and language. So for example, if you want to allow the databases, so in our organization, the organization will be the total 100 members of in the one company. So in that company to have in total have a 50 developers. For example, if you are building a large project, so if you are in the project, we have in 50 developers. So if you want to access the databases, so the databases will accept the multiple users to maintain the simultaneously the same work. So in this databases, where someone is working on the login page, someone working on the customer page, someone is working on the add to cart page. So these are the different pages will be working on the backend databases. So simultaneously, how it's work, we are going to see in the backend databases by using the SQL. So this is SQL is the more secure to maintain the data in our databases. And now we are going to understand about the what is the difference between the DBMS and RDBMS. So in the DBMS, data stored in the file format. Okay, so for example, if you insert the data into Excel sheet, after inserting the data, so you can save that file into the, if you click on the save file, automatically the Excel file is saved into the file format, right? So when coming to the RDBMS in the databases, if you save the data, it's completely stored in the tabular format. So here there is no file created. Automatically, this data will be stored in the SQL itself only. It will be created in table format. And when coming to the DBMS, so data is stored in the small amount. So it's a certain limit. So when coming to the RDBMS, so it depends upon your which RDBM tool you have to choose. For example, your company will choose the Oracle. Some companies choose the PostgreSQL. Some company will choose the MongoDB. Depends upon that. The data will be stored in the large amount of. So
Excel sheet, it comes under DBMS, right?
yes. It's a file
Okay.
format, right?
Yes.
So
it comes under.
for let's take an example, Amazon will be open the data center in Hyderabad, right? So because of these data centers will be stored in the backend database will be in the large amount of data. So the company depends upon the company to company. It's depend upon the company databases and employees. It's complete depends upon the organization we are using. So next one is the DBMS supports the single users. So the DBMS will only support a limited options to enter into the particular formats. So when coming to the RDBMS, it supports the multiple users at a time. And when coming to the DBMS, here there is no connection between the one data to the another data. In the Excel sheet, for example, if we created the one table, so here there is no option to connect the one database to another database, as well as here there is no option to connect the primary key and the foreign key to connect the one database to another database. So when coming to the RDBMS, so in the databases, so the data in the form of table are linked together. So by using the foreign key and the primary key, we are going to link the one table to another table, right? So there is an option we can connect. For example, let's take an example. I will give an example. If you want to buy any product in the any e-commerce platform. So for example, you are buying one mobile. So after clicking on the buy now, automatically one order ID is created, right? So this order ID will be directly connected to the manufacturer who are the providing that particular project. Automatically, this product this order ID will be created to the manufacturer. So the manufacturer will match the product ID and the customer details based on that. The manufacturer will upload that product into the application. Based on that, the manufacturer after adding to the cart. So in the final one, the manufacturer will receive the payment. So the payment also will be connected to the API. So this payment link will be also connected into the backend databases with the bank server. So this is the if I mentioned all these things, it will that complete topic is diverted. So I'm not about to discussing about the APIs. So this data will be stored in the backend database like that. We created the one ID to the another ID. It connects to the one table to the another table. And next one is the DBMS does not apply any security with regards the data manipulation. For example, if you're doing the any data manipulation, if you want to change the charts or if you want to create the any data manipulation in the DBMS, so here there is no security. So here there is no, I'm not assure you to secure on that particular DBMS. So when coming to the RDBMS, it's more secure to store data with regards to data manipulation. For example, if you want to manipulate the data from the one database to another database, if you want to connect the one database to another database in the backend databases, at that time you have a certain code, you have a password for the each user. So at that time, so without the user password, we can't access the databases. So make sure we can, that's the complete data will be secure, the more secure in the databases. So that is the reason most of the organization will use the SQL to maintain the data into the databases. So Excel, we all know the Excel we are using the from the last 10 years. But when coming to the SQL, so the Excel using is a reducing, right? So this is how the RDBMS will come into the picture. And next one is the multiple data elements are accessible together. So in the for example, let's take an example. In the Excel, we have an multiple data elements. Data elements is nothing but different features. For example, if you want to change the font, if you want to modeling the tables, you have an multiple accessibles in the together. If you want to connect to the one element to another element, you can easily connect that. So when coming to the RDBMS, so it's an individual access of the data elements. Here there is no different elements to connect the one table to another. We have different features. So this is completely only the tables and the rows formats. So if you want to add the front end colors, everything, yeah, the particular part will be doing the front end side. So the back end, we are just creating the tables, and just we are creating to maintain the tables and rows in the structure and organized way. Okay, so for the DBMS example is the XML Microsoft Access. So everyone will know XML is we call in the file format. So Microsoft, all the Microsoft products are called, we call as an file formats on the DBMS format. And the RDBMS we call as an Oracle SQL Server, MongoDB, PostgreSQL. So in the market we have different relational database servers. So guys, please remember, as a business analyst, the business analyst will not at all involved into the all these databases. The business analyst just view the data based on the data with the permission of the database administrator. The business analyst will make the reports by using the different reporting tools. So the BA will not at all creating all the database in the backend database. The business analyst will only the person to view the data based on the view based on the data. So the BA will prepare the reports with the help of the database administrator. And why SQL is important for the business analyst? So this is the 3 points very important. The first one is the data extraction. So the business analyst need to extract data from the various sources to gain insights in the business operations. For example, if you are working on an organization, so if you want to launch a new product, at that time the BA will get the data from the previous different sources. Whatever the sources, we are the sources like Excel sheet, SQL, whatever that. Based on that, the BA will prepare some insights, the key performances to make the business operation to take the right decision in the organization. And next one is the data manipulation. So business analysts can use SQL to sort, filter, group, and aggregate data to gain insights and understand the trends. So as I said in the earlier, so the business analyst will to see the data only the viewing purpose. So to sort the data and the filter the data. Based on that, the BA will prepare the latest trends. For example, if you want to build any application, so at that time, so before starting an application, every business analyst will do the enterprise analysis, right? So in the enterprise analysis, we are doing some market research, we are doing the SWOT analysis, gap analysis, strategy analysis. It's a part of this. It's a data manipulation, the sorting to get the data, to understand the market trends, everything. It's a part of this as a business analyst role in the organization. So after that, the BA will start the preparing the documentation, everything. See, I will mention the next one is the reporting. So business analysts often need to generate reports to communicate their findings to stakeholders. So the business analyst will always to prepare the reports and to give the updates to the responsible stakeholders. So SQL enables to create the customs that contains the specific data insights by the stakeholders. Whatever the data need by the stakeholders, as a business analyst, we are going to prepare some reports. For example, when you are working on a project, so in the project we have a different teams, a design team, development team, right? So first we have as a business analyst, if you want to understand the status of the particular development team, particular the design team. So at the time, first we have to understand what they are working. So based on that, the BA will prepare some reports by using the databases. So these data will be present to the client stakeholder. So based on that, the clients are going to interact with the BA in a regular basis. For example, if you want to get the amount from the client, so if you want to budget from the client, so first as a business analyst, your responsible is first you have to showcase the work, how much work you have completed till now. So based on that, the client will release the amount, right? So like that, based on this backend database using the data, the BA will prepare some reports. Based on that, the project will be running on the backside. Guys, everyone, please mute yourselves. And SQL execution. So what can SQL do? So SQL can execute queries against the database. So the SQL can execute the means. So the SQL create the databases and to maintain the different tables. And the SQL can retrieve data from the databases. So if you want to get the data from the previous databases, by using the retrieve command, you can get the data. So SQL can insert records into a table. So by using the insert command, so we can insert the data into the databases. So SQL can update records in the table. So if you want to update the data into the existing page, so you can use the update command, you can update the data. So SQL can delete records from the databases. So for example, if you want to delete the one row, for example, if you want to delete the row date, so at the time you can select the date, you can select the delete command. So automatically the data will be deleted. So SQL can create the new databases. So in the SQL accept the n number of databases. So depends upon the working on the project. So the SQL accept the n number of databases. Based on that, you can connect the one database to another database. And SQL can create new tables in a databases. So if you want to create the multiple tables in the SQL, so you can create the multiple tables in the SQL. So SQL can create the store processor in a databases. The store processor is nothing but how the data will be stored in the databases and what is the structure format and the unstructured format and where is the data is located. Everything will be created in the store processor. And SQL can create the views in your databases. If you want to view the data, so if you want to understand the trends, so at that you can use the create view, you can take the data. And SQL can set permissions on table, processors and views. For example, if you are, I'm responsible for the SQL my databases. Someone is want to coming to the my database to want to see. At that time, as a database administrator, I'm not giving the access to see the data. So it's completely take my permission. I will give the passcode for a particular table. At that time only the particular person will see the databases. So same here, the business analyst will also same. So with the permission of the database administrator, the BA will do the activities in the project. So based on the tables, based on the processor, they are stored in the backend databases. The BA will take the some data. Based on that, the BA will prepare the reports.
Hello.
Hello.
So what is difference between retrieve and delete?
So retrieve is nothing but, for example, if you want to get the data, for example, in the SQL database, we have an n number of databases, right? So if you, at that time, if you want to get the particular databases, at that time, you can use the retrieve data. So you can retrieve data is a command. So at that time, you can use the retrieve data command. So you can get that particular data, a particular table. So when coming to the delete is, for example, if you want to delete the one row in the one table, at that time you can use the delete command. So you can delete the particular row. Okay. And tables in SQL. So tables in SQL, the terms are called as mentioned below. So a row is called as record. So this all we call as a record. For example, this is the one table, we call all this we call as a record. So column, this area we call as a column. And a unique key identifies a table row. So if you want to create the table, make sure you have to create the primary key to create the every table. So this is the one field. This is the one field. So this is the one field. So here we are going to connect the one field to another field by using the primary key and the foreign key. So first we have to understand that how the databases will be connected to the one database to another databases. I will show you in the moving slides so you can easily understand that.
Hello.
Hello.
What is foreign key?
So foreign key is used to connect the one database to another database.
Okay.
So this is the example. For example, this is the primary key. Okay. For example, this is the customer table. Okay. This is the customer table. This is the primary key. So here we have a different name. Will Smith, Sean Smith, Christiania, Alexander. We have a different names. For example, Will Smith will buy a one product. So this product ID automatically will create
Foreign key is a primary key of some other tables. Primary key of some other tables, right?
no primary key is
For example, the same sales table is over here. So item ID and customer ID. So these are nothing but the primary key of the item table and customer table. So you can consider a sales tables in which item ID and customer ID are the foreign key, correct?
Yes. So basically, the primary key is used to identify the unique values. For example, you are working on an organization. So one employee it is not repeated to another employee, right? So it's a different unique ID. So at that time, so if you want to create the table, at that time you can use the primary key. So the primary key will help you to identify the unique values. So
the
if
green
you,
row, the green this thing column is shown is foreign key, right?
this one you are asking this one, right?
Yes, that is
No,
a
that is a
foreign
not,
key.
no, this is not a foreign key. So the foreign key is used to only the connect the one database to another database. So it's a big topic. As a joins is a big topic. So as a business analyst, we are not discussing about on the joins topic. So joins is a very big topic. So that is the connected to the one database to another databases in the backend process. See, you can see these sentences. Tables are related by the keys, and the tables keys are the used to create relationship with the tables. It must be unique and cannot be null values. So foreign keys are used to connect two tables together. For example, if you want to connect these tables to this table, at that time you can use the foreign key. So I will show you in the next slide. Wait.
So
So can you see my screen?
Slow?
Okay, sure. Can you see my screen? So this is the tables. For example, this is the one table. This is the order table. So this is the customer table. So then why you connected to the customer table to order table? So first the customer, for example, the customer will want to buy any products. Automatically, the customer ID is created and the product is ID is created. And after that, so this order ID. So this order ID will match to the customer ID. So based on that, the product items will be visible here. So it's a connected to the one database to another database. So this is we call as a data schema. So in the for example, if you're building any online application, so in the backend database we have different tables. So we haven't separate the login table, we haven't separate the order page, we haven't separate the some home page. It's can different tables in the backend databases. So it's time to some beginners we can sometimes to understand it very difficult. So if you want to understand that the joins topic is a very big topic. So if you want to learn the personally in the SQL, so you can easily learn that. So but it's time to more to learn the master on the joins topic in the foreign key. So foreign key and the joins are the both same. So if you want to joins the one table to another table, at that time we are going to use the foreign key. So the primary key is identify the unique values.
So which is the foreign key over here?
So here we are not mentioning the any foreign key. So in the real-time databases, the databases administrator will understand that what is the primary key and what is the foreign key. So if you want to create the tables like that, so how to mention that foreign key and the primary key. So
now
as
if
of
we take a customer table over here, so customer ID is the primary key. Item table, item ID is the primary key. Order table, order ID is the primary key, right? So which is foreign key? So order ID and item ID in order item tables.
Order ID automatically whenever the customer we created the customer ID, automatically it will be connected to the order items. It will be showing as the databases it connected to the foreign key. So guys, as of now, we are not able to get this foreign key. So don't want to this foreign key about these things. So just focusing on the basic on this. If you want to learn this joins topic, this is a very big topic. It take the more time to at least 3 hours a day.
So we can also say that this is a database schema, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
ER diagram, entity relationship diagram, then we derived this database schema
Yes,
from
yes,
that,
yes,
correct?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So these are the SQL commands. So if you want to learn the SQL in the structured way, so these are the some SQL data definition language and data manipulation language, data control language, data query language. So the next one, the first one is the data definition language. So what is the use of this DDL command? So by using these DDL commands, we are going to create the tables in the databases. We can drop the command. So the drop is used to delete the complete databases. SQL meaning is a structured query language to store the data into the databases. And this drop, guys, in the previously we did understand about the delete. So the delete is only the option to delete the specific table. So when coming to the drop, so the drop is used to delete the complete table. Okay. And when coming to the alter, so if you want to using the any alter existing tables, if you want to the alter the table, so we are discussing about the update in the previous one. So the update is if you want to update the complete table, at that time you can use the update command. So if you want to update the table into the specific table, at that time you can use the alter command. And truncate, truncate is used to some delete option also, this one also. So in the SQL, it depends upon the what relational database you are using. So it's a completely changes to the one Oracle to the PostgreSQL MongoDB. It's different to the change one database to another database. All the databases will be the same. These are the not the same commands. So some few databases will be change the commands. And the rename used to, if you want to change the database name, so you can use the rename. See, you can see these sentences. DDL commands is a structured query language are used to create and modify the schema from the databases and its objects. So whatever the databases we have into full out in the tables, so you can, if you want to change that, so you can by using that commands, you can make the changes. Guys, truncate is used to delete the some data. So this is the this truncate is used in the Oracle databases. And the syntax of the DDL commands is predefined for describing the data. So whatever the data will be inserted into the databases. So this data, these databases, if you want to modify any databases by using these commands, you can modify the data. And the commands of the data definition language deal with the how the data should exist in the databases. By using these commands, we are going to maintain the how the data will be look like and how the data will be should the existing in the databases. So this is about the data definition language. So if you want to learn the SQL, so this is the certain format to learn the SQL. And
So
next
then
one.
What is the difference between truncate and this delete command?
So it's a situations. So for example, if you want to delete the one field in the tables, so at that time, so you can use the delete command. So if you want to delete the some specific one record, for example, if you have in the databases, you have a large amount of databases. So at that time, you don't know where database is created. So you can use the database name, you can use the truncate. So this truncate will be identify the specific table and this truncate will be delete the specific table. So at that time, you can use the truncate.
Okay, so delete is for basically for row or something you want to delete.
Guys, before attending the interviews, you can read the all these definitions. So don't go to create the tables. So as an aspiring business analyst, you can read the definitions of these commands. So it's more than enough to crack the interviews. So if the companies will ask the SQL, so most of the companies will not ask you the SQL. Like so only the few companies will ask the some basic knowledge on the SQL. So if you get the some interview questions related to the SQL, so the interviewer will ask you, the interviewer will only ask you about the definitions of these commands. So because of we have to understand the what is the command and where should you use it. And next one is the data manipulation language. So the command, the DBML commands is a structured query language, change the data present in the SQL database. So if you want to see the data in the databases, at that time you can select the data so you can see the data. So if you want to insert the data, so you are the beginners, you are just a little bit confusing on the databases. Some commands are the repeated commands. So in the different situations, we are going to use the different commands. So just to don't focusing on that. First, we have to understand the how it's we work. So then after that, you can read the definition, so you can easily understand that. So we can use it.
For interviews, we have to know the.
So in the interview, before attending the interview, you can read the definitions of the commands.
Okay, SQL commands we have to go through.
Yes.
All four, no? DML, DQL,
by personally, if you want to learn the
PDL.
SQL, so you can learn the SQL in the by any online platforms. So you can use the you can easily access, store, modify, update, and delete the existing records from the databases. Guys, mute yourselves. From the databases using the DBML commands. So by using these commands, so we can modify data into the databases. Data control language. So DCL includes the commands. These are the advanced concepts. Grant and revoke. These are the advanced concepts. And DCL includes the commands such as grant and revoke, which mainly deal with the write permissions and other controls of the databases. So as I said in the earlier, right? So if you want to access the databases, must make sure you have to take the permission from the database administrator. At that time only the database administrator will give the access. So if you want to access that, so grant. The grant is the command give the users access privilege to the databases. So if you want to access the databases, it's not possible to access without the any password or without the any command. So make sure we have a certain command, that is the grant command. So if you're using the grant command, so at that time only the database will be open. And next one is a revoke. And these commands withdraw the user access privileges given by the grant command. So by mistakenly, without the knowing about the database, we are doing the something in the database. At that time, immediately the database administrator using the revoke command, the database administrator will withdraw the permissions to the particular person. So at that time, you can use the revoke and the grant. So these are the advanced commands. So first we have to focusing on the select command, insert data. So okay, these are the basics ones. So these are the advanced concepts, grant, revoke. And next one is the data query language, DQL. So DQL stands are used to perform the queries on the data within a schema object. The purpose of the DQL commands is to get some data scheme relationships. So by using this, if you want to see the data from the databases, you can use the select command. So you can use the database. It is used to retrieve from the data from the databases. The retrieve data is from the example. So if you want to get the data from the one database to another database, if you want to see the data at the time, you can use the select command. So you can see the data. So we can define the DQL as the follow. It is a component of SQL statements that allows getting data from the databases and imposing order upon it. It is include the select statement. So if you want to see the data in the tables, at that time you can use the select commands. So I will show you in the SQL tool few commands. So as a business analyst, what are the basic things you have to understand? So we're just focusing on that by creating the SQL databases. So guys, if you want to install the SQL from COEPT side, we are not installing the SQL. So we are installing only the MS Visio and Balsamiq Azure only. We are providing only the 3 standard tools, and SQL you can install by yourself. So we are providing on the SQL Power BI Tableau. These are the only the awareness sessions. So these are also supporting tools. So because of every company will not at all focusing on these tools. So we are not more discussing about on these tools. We are only focusing on the more on the MS Visio, Balsamiq, and Azure. So these are the standard tools we are providing the license keys. And if you want to install the SQLs, so by using the screens, or you can take the reference of the any online videos or any of your friends who are know about the SQL. So you can install the SQL in your devices for the practicing purpose. So this is the some sample screens to install the SQL. So if you click on this.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So this awareness tool, so if these tools, so basically we don't require to learn these tools, right?
Mm-hmm. So
from the BA perspective.
So from the BA perspective, some understanding, we have to understand the tool is good. So like so completely coding is not and required. So understanding is good. readability, knowledge, and understanding is good. Definitions, you have to understand about the definition. This will be help you on the interviews also.
SQL commands, 4 commands, no? The DML, DQL, DCL, and DDL.
In the SQL, we have a lot many commands. So just to focusing on the few commands, I will show you in the SQL tool, like what are the commands we have to focus
Right now,
more
we
on.
have discussed 4 commands, right?
No, we have discussing on the 4 commands as 4. These are the 4 commands. So you can focusing on the 4 commands. In that 4 commands, we are using the only the 3 or 4. So I will show you in the SQL tool, like how to create the data table and how to insert the data.
Okay.
So if you want to install the this one by taking this reference sheet, so you can complete the installing the database. So this is a canvas where we can create the tables. So
This
is
PPT is there in the library document
this
section.
Yes, this PPT is available in the document section.
Okay. Okay.
So with the you can take the any online reference, you can install the SQL. So now I will show you the how the SQL will work by using the SQL tool. Okay, by opening the SQL tool. Just a moment, I will open my SQL server.
So can you provide the link for the SQL tool download?
We are not at all providing any supporting tools, these links and installations. So we are just focusing on the standard tools only. So these are the completely supporting tools. So as a business analyst, this is not and sometimes required, sometimes is required, sometimes not required, sometimes required. It depends upon the company to company. So most of the companies will not ask you about these supporting tools. So that is the reason we are not installing these tools and to focusing on the tools. We are most focusing on the MS Visio, Basmic, and Azure. These are the standards. So BA is very important to learn these tools.
SQL is mostly required in the banking domain, right?
Sorry?
It is mostly required in banking domain.
Yeah, hello.
Shiva.
No, I'm Shiva. I completed with Mahesh batch. Recently, I joined for Cognizant from last 4 months back. SQL is that much is not required. We required only nominal knowledge. SQL means that the backup team will do everything. They will share some data apart from that. We don't require that much of knowledge as per my working experience from last 5 months. This is just want sharing knowledge.
Yes, Shiva, that's what I'm saying to the participants.
Yes. No, I'm being a aspirant, being a live project. I'm
okay, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Some input for my co-friends and co-aspirant. That is the thing I want.
Okay, that's good.
Right, thanks.
Okay, so SQL, if you want to create the password, you can create the password also. So for practicing purpose, you don't create any passwords here. So I create one password here. So after clicking on that, connect. So these are the predefined SQL databases. So everyone see my screen?
This is MySQL, right?
Yes,
Yes, that's MySQL server. So this is the predefined SQL databases. So for example, if you want to create a new databases, at that time, you can simply click on the databases, click on the right click. Guys, the queries are some queries are different from the SQL and Oracle MongoDB. It's different to the relational database to database. So if you want to create the table, so you can simply click on the table, create new database. We are creating one database. Please remember this. We are creating the new database. My database name is new project. New project. My database name is a new product. After that, you can simply click on OK. I think this database's name is located. So
we are unable to see how we are creating.
It's not visible. It's not visible.
Okay, just a moment. Now, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Not the table that is created.
Okay, I will show you from the beginning. So if you want to create a new table, so you can simply click on the database. Then after that, you can simply click on the new database. We are creating the database. So after that, you can create the database. For example, your database name is new project. So this is my database name. After that, click on OK. So the database is created. If you want to see the database where it is located, so you can simply click on this place. So where is my database is located? I think the database is not created here.
New
My
project, right? New project.
My new, I think you missed some. I think it's my new.
Give some different name, so unique name, so it will be.
Okay, I will just send the name. So okay, again, I'm going to create the new databases. Customer table. I'll give the name as a customer table. So the database, if you want to see that, see the customer table is created. So this is my database. Okay. So in this database, if you want to create the tables at that time, first you have to select this database. Then after that, you can simply click on the new query. So if you click on the new query, so automatically the canvas is open. So where you can create the new table. So here I'm going to create some table. For that, I'm going to use the command create. For creating a table, I'm going to use the command called the create. So create. So here I want to create the table, right? So I give the name as a table, create table. And here I want to name as a student details. My table name is student details. I mentioned the database name is the customer table, but here I want to replace the name as a student table, student details. Student details. Student details. Then after that, you can open this one. Then after that, click on the enter. So here this table is created. So in this table, if you want to insert the data, first the student ID. So I'm going to create that table here, student ID. So the student ID is a value, right? So at that time, you're going to use the data type integer, int, int. So this int is a data type. So here ID is the number, right? So at that time, so the system will be identify this is the data type we call as a hint.
And if it is character, then
Varchar, I will show you. Wait. Student name. If you want to, so the student name will define the character, right? So it's a words. So at that time, I'm going to use the varchar. Varchar. This is the one data type. So if you want to give the some limit to the particular name, so at that time you can use the limit. For example, I'm going to limit the 200 for this character. So what is the use of this value of the 200, the 100? So if you give the particular specific value, the fixed value, so the data bit will be stored only the 200 words.
Valchar takes special characters also.
Special characters means like at the rate of hash you're asking about, right? So in the databases, why we are mentioning the database in the special characters? So the database will not accept the special characters. So next is the student location. So I'm just to mention the student location as a varchar. Comma after that and student class integer comma. So here I'm just creating a sample database. Then after that, so you can close this one. See, I'm just execute this table. So if you want to execute the table, first you have to select the table. Then after that, execute table. See,
Yes, sir.
the data is completely.
How to know where to give space and where space is not required? How to decide where we have to give the space and where space is not required? Like in student name, space is not given, and create table, space is given. So how to decide that?
Student name?
Yeah, the student name
if you want to create the data type, at that time you have to give the some space to identify the data type. For example, student name is the one word, right? So after that, you can give the space, you can give the data type. So the system will understand that.
You can give space also, na, after student space name, student
Yeah.
space location.
We are asking here, right?
Yes,
No, so they are
where we
asking
have
about
written the query.
they're asking about the two words, student space name.
Yes, student space location, student space class. So is it mandatory that we should not give space?
No. Just I'm just creating a sample one. So it depends upon the using the relational database that is accepting. So this is the MySQL server accepting this format.
So, sir, there is any specific syntax or format for SQL?
No. So the SQL's few commands will be changed compared to the Oracle, PostgreSQL, Oracle, MongoDB, MySQL server.
So with this fields will be created, right, for tables?
Yes, I created field. So I will show you that. So if you want to see that tables, so here I'm just creating the tables. If you want to see that, so you can use the select command. Let's see, select star from where you want to see the table, from the student details. So you can select star from student details, table name, student details. Select the star from, I think this is
So I think the
select
next command.
no
Select
wait,
star from
select star from
student details.
student details. So now we can see this. So I'm giving the space here. So here there is no space. So if you execute this, see the data is here the names will be visible, right? So in this tables we are going to insert the data. So I'm going to insert into which table? Student details table. So student details. Then after that, we are going to use the values. So if you want to enter into the values to the tables, at that time, you can use the attribute. So this is the attribute values. So again, you can close this one. So the first one is the number. So comma.
So can't we link an Excel or maybe we upload
No.
some file?
No. So name. So for name is called as an
ABC or anything.
comma. And next one is the student location. For example, student location is Pune. Comma. And next one is the student class is a number. So at that time, you can use that number class 5. So after that, you can close this one.
Student ID is 1. Suppose we give
This
character
is the
and if we give characters and if we execute it, so the error message will show.
Sorry.
Values in bracket we have written 1. So 1 is for student ID, right?
Yes,
so student ID we given integer. If we add some characters into that and we run the query, so it will obviously show error message.
Error message. So see if I insert this data into the tables, one row is affected. If you want to see that table, again you can execute this one. Select star from student details. See, the data is inserted into the table. So if you want to insert the tables again, so again you can change the number. So you can change the name. So you can change the location. So you can.
So we can amend the same syntax and we can change.
Yes. At that like this also you can create the again you have to insert the table. Yes,
I mean like other query language or maybe the the coding language. We don't have to take multiple syntax one below the other, right? We can amend the same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So like that, we have to change the table. So if you want to delete this complete table, so again, you can use the one command that is called the drop. So we actually we are not involved in all this creating the tables. So for your understanding, I'm just explaining this how to create the tables in the developers will be creating the backend databases. So drop table. So I'm
So
going
two
to create-
records are created, right? So if we add values as 3 and we add different names, so third record will also be created over.
So
Right now there are two
there is-
records, no, which are created.
Wait. So drop table. If you want to delete this complete table, see if I'm executing this, click on execute. See the command is successfully. See if I click on if I insert the data, it will be showing as error. See, it's an invalid object. So because of we are deleting the complete data. So again, if you want to same repeat this data, so again you can see this data. So if you want to see that, control if you want to see that table, again you can see that. Okay. So next one is this is the creating a table. So we are not creating any like a foreign keys to connecting the joins table. So if I take this joins everything, it will take the more time to understand that. So as a business analyst, you don't require to learn about the all these things. So just focusing on the basic commands and the definitions of the SQL. So first, for example, what is the use of the command? So how to create and some awareness about on that.
We have created two records, right? So it's showing the second record. Where is the first record which you have inserted into this table?
So you can change here. So if you want to insert same, I can select this one, execute. Again, you can select this one, execute. Two records.
Okay.
So guys, this is the like basic understanding about the SQL session. So if you want to learn personally SQL, so you can use the different online resources to learn the complete SQL. So from COEPD side, we are providing the only awareness sessions like how it's work and where is law and how it is the use of this SQL. So if you want to learn by personally, so as a business analyst, it's not more required. So it depends upon the company to company. So you can check the some job JDs. So all the companies will not ask you the SQL. So only the few companies will ask the SQL, right? So like that, you can check that. So based on that, you have to prepare by yourself for preparing the interviews. So you can make sure you
So
can prepare
last
for,
question, just for interview purpose, what we have to prepare from the SQL tag? What we
focusing
need to
on
memorize?
the focusing on definitions.
Okay, the commands.
And that's the commands is a definitions, right? So what is the use of the
Theory, right?
update and delete command? We have to read the definitions.
Only theory.
As theory, if you want to really interested to learn SQL, so you can learn the SQL also. It will be more helpful.
Maybe for just for BA, you told that some companies are interested in SQL also. So just for interview purpose, if some companies are like candidates should know about SQL, then theoretical, that little bit theoretical part is well enough, right?
Okay. Basically, they are focusing only on the we have a knowledge or not on the SQL. So they just asking you in the from till now in the most of the COED participants, we are getting the some interview calls definitely regular basis. So they are asking on the some definitions about the SQL. Only the few companies will ask you the more in depth on the SQL. So not only one
Company won't ask to create tables and everything.
No.
This won't be asked.
Yes.
Just we should have the knowledge about what is SQL,
Yes.
for our
So,
knowledge.
Yes. So if you learn the personally SQL, so it will more help you on the future also. So because of every companies will upgrade to the databases SQL. Today's the data is more important, right? So if you learn that, so this is a more helpful to get the hands-on experience on the SQL tool.
So as you said, being analyst, we have to make we have to prepare reports for the stakeholder, right? Using this data. So can you showcase the sample copy or even the sample format of the report, how it looks like on basis of the SQL data?
Atul, are you attended the Power BI session?
Yes.
So same by getting the data of the backend databases, we are going to give some reporting tools to creating the reports. So if you are really interested, so you can use the Power BI tool, you can create the data. So the Power BI will offer the some sample data. So by using the data, you can create the reports. The recording sessions are available in the library option.
Okay, so whatever the data I extract, so I can extract from the SQL server. So that is the way
So
only we can do it.
guys, please remember, don't use your company's data. The data is very confidential. So for
Understood.
practicing purpose, the different tools will be provide the sample data, and most of the online websites also providing the sample data for practicing the creating the reports. So you can use that sample data, you can create the reports. Okay.
So this recording will be there tomorrow, no? In the
Yes,
library
yes,
session.
this recording will be uploaded tomorrow.
Okay.
And sir, if we want PPTs, then?
The PPT is available in the library section.
Document section it is there.
document section.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
One more query. So you have dropped the table, entire table. So can you delete the single table?
So the single table, this predefined databases, we are not access that predefined databases. So this is our company databases system. So I haven't secure password. So I'm just for your explanations, I'm just giving the access to show the few commands only. So I don't have an access to all the commands.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
The syntax would be the same, like
The
drop
syntax is the
table.
same.
So okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, Anurag, yes, good afternoon.
Yeah. So I was trying to just install the SQL server. I was trying to connect to the server, but it's not getting connected. So can
Anurag,
you show me once again?
No. This is a live session. It's not possible. So SQL installation is a process. It takes the more than 45 minutes to 1 hour. So
No,
okay.
that is all done, sir. I was trying to connect to the server. It's asking for server name, authentication, and all.
Server name and authentication.
Yeah. Can you show me once again how to connect it, sir? That one.
So you are asking about the starting one, right?
Yeah, correct, sir.
So just a moment. So Anurag, you can use the Windows authentication, not SQL server authentication.
Okay.
So if you click on the Windows authentication, automatically will be connected. So
Okay.
don't use the SQL server authentication. So because of this, if you click on the SQL server authentication, automatically the password will be asked.
Okay. And what about the server name, sir? What we have to mention there?
You can mention any sample one. What's the name?
Okay, sample data we have
Yes,
to mention.
sample data. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
And password and all we have to create, sir? Or like
So if you
it
want to
should be by
create the
default?
password, you can create the for sample purpose. Don't create the password.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you guys. So thank you for the attending the session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Devarati, are you there?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.